Well, welcome back to our third session on taking your branding to the next level. And tonight we are going to speak about how your branding works offline. Every single time up until today, what we've done in the previous two sessions, we really focused on the fact on how you will present yourself on an online presence and how you'll build an audience with your authentic story. Now, that is all very important. But the biggest mistake we can make right now is to concentrate so much on building our brand online that we take our eye completely off the offline game. And that is really what we are going to discuss a little bit today. And what I want to try and do is I don't want you to lose the thought of what is it that I present online and what is it that I present offline. Because what we want to do is we want to marry those two so closely that there's no difference between them. Because otherwise, we have got brand confusion. That means I saw you online, you look like this kind of a person, but I walk into your office and it's a completely different story. I meet with you the first time, and your brand that I saw online does not match who you are. And this is what I believe brings a whole lot of the authenticity for us back into the game. Because we all know that people online actually has got a very perfect life. And yet their offline life doesn't match the online one. And what we want to do is we want to try and get these two as close as we can to meet each other. So first of all, you are your brand. And in your both your online and your offline image, you're going to decide how you want to be seen. What you will not hear me say tonight is that you must dress a certain way, you must speak in an eloquent certain way, and you must, I don't know, wipe your nose in a certain way. Because this is still all about who you are authentically. Remember, I told you, I think in session one, I told you about the guy that does the business online presentations um, in his tracksuit, in his kitchen, barefoot. I mean, that guy, and he is a multimillionaire. He's an entrepreneur with a huge online following, but that is his brand. And I think when you meet him in the streets, maybe he would have shoes on by that time, but you would not recognize the guy. You know, some people you actually see them on their online images, and you run into them at the local grocery store, and you think to yourself, what happened to that person? Because all of a sudden now she's not that skinny anymore, or she is not, her wrinkles are so much more. So who you want to be should match online and offline. And with that, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong to have beautiful pictures taken. We all take those professional headshots for our social media from time to time. And yes, we all put that extra filter on there. But I mean, can you imagine if I would look like a 23-year-old all of a sudden? The only DM that I will get from this is, who is your doctor? Okay. So we want to make sure that my look matches my brand. And if you are the kind of person that are super comfortable in your funky sneakers, in your pretty denims, and you've got a very toned down look, then you remain that person. You keep that look. You are not going to change that so that you seem to look like something else or somebody else. I think of the beautiful Claire van Deventer. I mean, when I look at her, I know that both online and offline, she looks as chic as a Coco Chanel model. And I have never seen her not look like that. She authentically carries her brand. And I think that is one of the things we just need to ask ourselves. And 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 maybe you already got your brand established. Maybe tonight the only thing you need is for somebody to say to you, your brand is okay. You don't have to be dolled up all the time. Because remember, you are seeking your tribe. And a lot of people seek people who are not dolled up every single day of their life or every snap moment of their life. So you are your brand. And today you have permission to be authentically matching your look both online and offline. Now let's talk about your communication and your branding. So when we do training with our team leaders and our elite entrepreneurs, we always ask them, and even with a sales consultant, how do you communicate with your people? So let me just talk team leader language. How do you communicate with your team? Is there a specific special way in which you actually do that? And it is constant so that your honey knows exactly who is speaking to her. Or do you have a little bit of a schizophrenic personality where over a period of 2 weeks, that poor honey on the other side doesn't have an idea who she's speaking to right now? Now, why is this important, you might ask? Can I not just be maybe a little bit crazy? We all have got a little bit of crazy in us, but you know what I mean, hey? That stability and that continuance of knowing exactly how it's going to be, that familiarity brings confidence to your sales consultant so that she knows exactly what she will get when she is in contact with you. And that is key to any business. People go to business school to learn this, to have a brand that is consistent. Now, you've already matched with the Honey brand, which I believe is fairly consistent. Now you're putting your brand next to it. So make sure that the way you communicate, it is consistent. And if you've got a crazy communication style, at least let that be consistent so that your honeys knows, oh, my team leader is crazy. And I love it because that will bring her the confidence and to know what happens inside of her experience with you. Do you take time to plan your communication? Now, I know I do a lot of training on communication, on planning, and I know very often that is the least favorite attended session out of them all because a lot of you don't see the value of planning communication because you might just say, you know what, I'll just wing it. Now, I believe team leaders are very resilient and we can pivot at a point's notice. We've seen that with the orders today. The moment they're out, you stop the grocery trolley in the middle of the checkers aisle and you are punching your orders. So you are able to pivot very quickly. But by planning communication ahead really gives you an edge. And that is why, and I said that in last night's session, and I think I also said it in session 1, is that planning your online posts is so important because, first of all, it not only gives you time to think ahead, because I don't know about you, but sometimes I run out of words. Then I'm like, I don't even know what to say right now. So that's actually why I started to plan my online posting and my social communication ahead of time so that when there's days that I run out of words, I've got something that I can say. But even inside of your team, I mean, just taking time to sit one day, sit one evening, sit one morning. I mean, it doesn't need to be a full day, but know exactly what do I want to communicate? How do I want to communicate? You create those images up front. You maybe write your scripts out, those kind of things. Because if you can add that special touch inside of your communication and your planning around that, it favors you to have exceptional moments of leadership. There's a saying that says, opportunity favors the prepared. And in that preparation process, now I'll tell you one thing. Many years ago, I was the .99 queen. And my poor mother team leader pulled her hair out of her head so many times because I frustrated her. And out of respect for her, I started to plan. And now I can tell you, I have aced planning. And I have now realized how much pressure it takes off of me to plan, have my things ahead, because now it gives me time to breathe. Let's talk about promotions and your brand. I think this is very important, especially with communication and everything that is sent to you. Remember, Honey, as head office, they communicate to you, the team leader, and to your elite entrepreneurs directly. But they know what is the mindset of the team leader and what is the way that the team leader and the elite entrepreneur will understand things. Therefore, if I read the information, and this is a part that a lot of you go wrong, you don't digest the information before you send it on to your team. If you digested your information, you might have actually seen that this specific information is not for your sales consultant. It's really actually just for you. And you should not have hit the forward button without reading it. And sometimes it's not about reading it once. Sometimes it's about reading it twice. And then I still don't hit the forward button just like that to my team. Because my team is used to my voice, my communication. This is literally like little ducklings. When they breed out of the little egg, the first thing they see is their mother and they imprint on her. And they know forever and forever and forever, this duck mother is mine. They understand her and they connect to her leadership. Your sales consultant is exactly the same. That is why when we do training in the induction process of a sales consultant, especially if you have help in the office to help you run office matters, my very first most important part that I say to you is I say, do not let anyone else communicate to your lady except you. In week 1, she must have no communication with nobody else but with you, because you are the leader and she needs to know that. So already she has started to understand exactly how you communicate. Now you send her a foreign message with big words that she doesn't understand, because remember, yesterday we said she speaks a different language, so she doesn't have the same understanding, and the message just absolutely surpasses her whole head, and she carries on. And she missed the opportunity to benefit from the business just because she didn't understand. It is our responsibility, as much as we take things in, to say, how do I relay it to my honey? And do I need to change it over? Do I need to stop? Do I need to excuse myself from a conversation so I can retype or maybe do a voice note to my team to bring clarity and understanding? And when we talk about promotions, are you service focused or money hungry? How do you present promotions to your team? Or is it just also a hit the forward button thing? Do you think to yourself, what images have I not shared on my, like this morning? So let's talk about this right now. At the launch of a promotion, you would have sent the whole PDF out to your team. Maybe 15 or 20 loose images. However, what are you sending them tomorrow? You don't send them the PDF again. I'm going to go back to that. Remember what images are released in single format? And now I am conscious of my team. I'm not bumping them 25 images, but I'm sending them 5, maybe 10 to 15 that I know will sell, because I know what sells in my network. So I am service focused. I'm not just throwing all the bread into the dam and hoping every little duck gets a piece of it. I'm there to service my team, because my brand says, I will take you and I will show you a business opportunity that will change your life. And I am responsible. And tonight I want to put this question down to you. Who is responsible for your team's success? For your sales consultant's success? You. You are the leader that sold her an opportunity and said to her, I'll show you how to make money. And by showing her how to make money does not mean I shoved her a catalog, send her a PDF, added her on a WhatsApp group, and off I go. It's not what it means. Solving problems in my brand. You would not believe it, but the ability to solve problems builds your brand so that you can become the sought after leader in your industry, or the pain that other people are running from. The choice is up to you. Can you solve problems? Now, I just want to say, if there is a brand new honey listening to this, Maybe you've just upgraded your status from sales consultant to EE, or maybe from EE to team leader. Maybe you've never solved your own problems, and right now you actually realize, listen, I really need to do this. Ask for help. Ask somebody, can you help me? This is the problem that I have. I don't know how to solve it. If your team leader has been in this business for about 12 months, I promise you that she solved enough problems to give you the answer free of charge. And if she can't help you, ask the upline leader from her, or ask a fellow leader, because I know that you guys connect across the board in weird and wonderful ways. But ask somebody, this is my problem. How do you suggest I solve it? And if the solution that the problem presents to you doesn't feel right in your heart, it means it's like actually against your brand. It doesn't match your value system. Ask another person. It is okay to ask and ask until you are satisfied. Are you frustrated? If you are frustrated with certain things in your business, speak up and ask for help. Because your mother team leader, your head office personnel, your owner, your CEO, he's here. We are all here to help you to solve your problems. Because if you would come to us and say, this is the problem that I have with my sales consultant, and we give you one or two different options, we have solved a problem way down the line. So we are involved and committed in you solving your problems. So if you are frustrated, maybe you need a different perspective. Maybe you just need a different idea. Sometimes people really just need to actually relieve of their stress. And then after they've blown off or just like released it, they like, I really actually feel better and the problem is not even that big anymore. So solving problems is a reality. That is why people get paid big money, okay? Is they solve more expensive problems than others. And then the ability to identify and communicate. You know, sometimes I have found that if I've really got a problem that I'm really stuck with, if I could just speak it out towards another person out loud, it's like all of a sudden the misfire in my brain have now got time to connect, and now I've got the answer. So solving a problem helps you to build brain muscle to solve more problems. And the more problems you solve, the easier they become. It is like going to the gym. And then how to effectively communicate so that the problem is now solved forever. I don't know if you've ever seen this. People come with a problem, and then other people put their problem on top of that problem, and then the whole problem is blown out of proportion. And this is one of the keys. Remember, because ultimately, what are we talking about? We are ultimately talking about building a business that can bring you R1 million a month turnover in your personal team. Right? That's girls, honeys. That is solving a lot of problems. And that means that we need to up our communication skills. So that is something in your brand package that is super, super important. Okay, now my team and my brand. What does my advertising look like? Do you actually advertise? When last have you invested in visibility boards? When last have you put them up at your local salon? Or is yours so yellowish and discolored that nobody can even recognize the Honey brand anymore? Time to go and print a few at your local postnet, and time to really just go and put them up again. Make sure that your contact details are there. Are you giving actually some flyers to your team to ask them to hand that out? Maybe 5 or 10. You sit with most probably, I nearly want to say most of us leaders right now that is on this call can walk to the where I'm standing. I can see the little shelf where the opportunity flyers are in. And my question is just, have they been gathering dust, or did they come in this week? How are you advertising? Because how else will you build your brand if those flyers are lying there and they are not out? Your connection with your team brand. How does your team see their connection with you? You know, and this is again, remember, this constant stable brand brings comfort into their hearts, and that builds confidence. They know that if it's stock collection, on the day from this hour to that hour, I will be in the office. No, I don't rush out to pick up a kit. No, I don't go to the mall to get a bread. I'm in my office. My team knows that. They know that these are the 2 days that they can collect their stock. They know in normal office hours, they can call me and I'll answer. And if it is a crisis in evenings, I will still answer. They know that they can send me a message at any time. However, I might only respond in the morning. That's especially for my night shift workers. But what is your connection? Is there a stable connection between you and your sales consultant so that they know exactly what is allowed in this team? And then my client experience. Is the client experience, and I know, can I just tell you right now? The answer is no. The client experience from my team, from me, the team leader, down to every sales consultant and every client is not the same. But that is why I am ongoing committed to train. And if I see, and you usually find this in your complaints, if a complaint comes to me, I see this as a great opportunity not only to satisfy my client, but it gives me a good indication of the problem in my team, which I then put into my planner to make sure that now I focus on that aspect of training. But I take that specific sales consultant and in a very tactful way, I will train her specifically without her knowing that actually she did something wrong. And that's a skill. So what is your client experience in your team? And what I do is, for instance, let's say all of a sudden I get shoe returns for the wrong sizing. Now, when returns from my office goes in, I make sure I check every return and I ask the question, why did it come in? Who sent it in? And then I say to myself, is that a new sales consultant or an old one? Is she skilled? Has she never done training? So I ask these questions and then I do two things. Coming up next week, I do training on shoe exchanges or maybe getting the sizing better the first time around. Plus, when that sales consultant comes in, I make sure I sit down with her and I go through training on shoe sizing with her directly. Because I know at the end of the day, the experience for my client at the end is the most important thing that I need to do. Now, my office brand. Again, what is my team experience? What is my service? To what level is my training? And what does my incentives look like? Is there a standard throughout my business? And now, when I talk about the standard, I don't want you to measure yourself with the top performers if you are not a top performer. Actually, I don't want you to compare yourself actually to anybody. You are allowed to look at what other people do, say, should I implement that in my office? But I don't want you to compare. But from January to December, there must be a silver thread of the quality of incentives in your business. And I just want to tell you, sometimes I go a little bit more out on my incentives and some days I come a little bit down, but I've got a baseline and it will never go below that baseline so that my team knows that here, that's the level of what we get. So one of the things that I decided to do, and I literally had this moment earlier today, remember I kept on talking about the Honey Playbook. And I said the Honey Playbook is where you are writing the rules for your business, your standard operating procedures, your brand. All those notes goes into a special book, which becomes your Honey Playbook. Years ago, we used to call it the Honey Bible. Can you remember? Okay, but this is now your Honey Playbook. And I was just playing around with the idea and I thought, what if I would get somebody to design us a very plain, simple notebook? I mean, this book, it's the cover that is beautiful. The inside is empty pages. But how proud would I feel if this was my Honey Playbook? And I'm not saying that it's going to have this design. Like I said, I pulled this out in minutes today because I just wanted to present you what I love to do in my office, my brand. But you can be on the lookout. I will be meeting this lady, and this is going to come at a very low price. Don't you think this is hundreds of rands, okay? It's going to come at a beautiful price. Her binding quality, her printing quality is superb. And I'm even going to do it in such a way. And then later on, if you are watching this video, by the time that I've actually finalized this deal with her, I will put the link below in the description so that anytime anyone can have access to this lady, and she will get your book. She will customize it for you with your name. So it will be designed in whichever format to make it like a nice brand. But it will be called the Honey Playbook, and you can get your own. And I will have them delivered to my office, and I'll go and put them every week in your bins, which means you don't even have to add postage money to that. Okay. So that is the brand that I have in my office. What is yours? Is your experience, is your team's experience with you always the same? Is your incentives always at the same level? Because that again brings that confidence. One of the things that I believe should be part of every brand in every team is your golden hour. So again, the concept of a golden hour comes actually from the sales industry, where if you are doing sales in a formal company, the first hour of every day is your golden hour. So if work starts at 8 o'clock, from 8 to 9, you will be out there on the telephone call, making calls, calling new clients, calling a potential recruit, tracking maybe an outstanding order, all those kind of things. And I'll tell you, it still happens today. Because in the morning between 8 and 9, my husband runs a business. Those people who are selling and servicing things are calling him and just say, hello, I just want to make sure if you're still happy with the guy that services your generator. They know he's happy, but every 6 months they will call in to just check in, because maybe in the meantime, this guy is slipping on his service and this sales agent can just move in. And that is the concept that should be part of your brand. And this will give you a lot of structure in your business, and it will give you constant growth. So it's by adding clients to your database for viewing the product. Remember, we are customer obsessed. We are focused on one-on-one hands-on experience with our own customers. We are adding one potential recruit to our business, or maybe it's the call of a new recruit. Maybe it's a follow-up of a recruit. I am going to drive my team by tracking the incentive that I've put out. Do you actually communicate open orders, or do you believe that they would remember? I'll tell you right now, they will not. If I am your typical standard sales consultant, you will remind me to pay my order, because I intend to pay my order and then I forgot. Okay. So if you don't communicate those open orders and remind them, they do forget about them and they lapse. Money down the water. And if it's on promotion, it's gone. Track your payments. Are you reaching your daily goal with payments? Now, I have got in my office, and I suggest you adopt this, whatever your daily total would be. So let's say you would say that your target per day is 1,000 Rand, which will take you roughly to a 30,000 Rand turnover. So maybe that's not enough. 1,500 Rand. I want to make sure that from yesterday to today, we've placed 1,500 Rand order. But I also want to make sure that we match that with a payment. So 1.5 new orders in, 1.5 orders paid for. And that places me on my daily target, and it helps me to really track the success in my team. Daily, get in contact with 1 or 2 sales consultants in your team, depending on the size of your team. And just check in with them. Maybe you would just say, I saw your baby went to grade 1 now. Next week is a huge milestone for a lot of parents as their children start out with school. Maybe it's the beginning of their matric year. Maybe it's matric dance. Maybe it's exams coming up. There's such a load of opportunity for you to connect to your honey outside of just asking her for an order. And remember, we're authentically building relationships with people whose lives we are going to change. And then if you've got elite entrepreneurs in your team, are you contacting them as well? So now I have promised you your social media planner, and I wanted to send it to you last night, but it was just not as perfect. But right now, Ria, my designer, just outdone herself. And in the download tonight, what you will see is you will see the PDF download for a full month download for the calendar. And this is for you to go and plan your social media topics on. And I want you to start out, and I did put Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and the other. So if there's another a place where maybe you want to add at the other your WhatsApp broadcast list or something like that, okay? And you're going to write down the totals right now, tonight, regardless if we're in the 8th of the month. I want you to go and write down your totals on your following on your various platforms. And when we page over to February, you're going to write down your followers again so that we can track our progress. And tracking our social media online, our followers on social media is now going to become one of the numbers that we are going to track inside of our business. Then another beautiful tool also coming from the hands of Ria is our daily habit tracker. Now, remember, you're writing your own story here. So I'm not going to tell you what you need to do on a daily basis. But I want to know, do you have a daily tracker? And if we sit in our one-on-ones, I would really love for this daily tracker to land on the desk so that I not can judge you. I'm not here to judge you, but so that I can get to know you. And on my group my personal downline group that I work with, we have actually committed here on this daily tracker. We put things like healthy eating in there. We are challenging ourselves some days to have either no sugar or no starches. We are challenging ourselves as it is everyone decides their own goals. I'm not giving them goals. How am I moving my body? And then I come back, and then inside my daily goals would be that golden hour, if anything gets added to that, because my golden hour is literally up front on my computer at the top of it. And that is my baseline. So anything that doesn't fit my baseline, I come and I add in here. And it also gives me time to do maybe some weekly things and maybe to put some extra monthly goals in there. But I'll tell you one thing, something happens in your mind if it knows that it gets measured. And then all of a sudden, that commitment starts kicking over and over. And if you want to go and add anything, you see I left a space on the side for you, there on this side here. Where's my finger there? So that you can go and you can write other things in there that is applicable to your life. And then lastly, I want to speak to you about you and me, because I am my brand. And this is the part that I want to say to you, that you should take care of you. I am not going to put you on a fitness regime. I'm not going to send you a diet plan. But I want to say to you one thing. If you want to run a business where you do R1 million a month turnover, I truly want to see you succeed in your body in all levels. We do not want to have a beautiful gala evening and we need to push you up there in wheelchairs and all on drips. Okay? I want you to run up. I want to have you to embrace your life. Let's not lose focus of how important I am. This means it is okay to take time to rest. And because if I don't take planned time to rest, my body will help me to take a break. And if you do get to that place where your body just kicks the whole thing in, allow yourself to have a break. Reach out and speak. Pick up the phone and say, Philip, I'm actually having a body meltdown. Let us know. Because we are not here to steal your team. I'm not going to jump in and say, ooh, lekker, now I'm getting myself a team. No. We're going to say, all hands on deck. I need help here. I need somebody to help you. And we are going to support your business. Because at the end of the day, you are more important to me and to Philip and to Cheryl and to every head office member than just being a name with an account number who produces a turnover. And you are important to your family. And the day that you are not here anymore, the legacy I want to hear from your children's mouth and from your family's mouth is that honey gave you a place to live your best life. It didn't drain you. It didn't take from you. It added to you. But it's our responsibility to make sure that I am important, that I'm well taken care of. And that means taking time for lunch, taking time for breakfast, taking time to go and pour yourself a glass of water. This is really what is in my mug every single night, water. Taking time to drink my water because I am important. I cringe when I hear people say, I don't take lunch because I don't have time. And maybe it's not you, maybe it's people in the corporate world. But I worry because this body houses a most important person. And it doesn't matter how much greatness is inside of you. If this body is not working, it's done. And my wish for you is that you would live your life to the fullest extent, to have an amazing journey. And I believe you should die maybe 2 days after you turned 100. And maybe you should work till the day before you turn 100. Because we should be living absolutely full lives. But we need to take responsibility for our bodies. I see how people are not doing that. I am seeing that there's a huge move towards that, to do that. I just wanted to make sure that the Million a Month Club is responsible for them, themselves, their bodies, and then ultimately their own legacy. So what will you get in your downloads at the bottom of this session? You will get the session notes. You will get your 2025 Honey Social Media Planner and your daily habit tracker. And you will be having this available to either use it inside of your teams, you can use it as part of your team meeting, or you can just use it for yourself to come back to over and over again. Because our only goal is to supply with you not only training material, but tools at an ongoing basis at the drop of a hat that you have got access to that. So I'm thanking you for spending these last 3 evenings with me. I really love doing these sessions. I've learned so much. It pushed me completely out of my comfort zone because I know it pushed you. And I always say that I will not ask you to do anything that I have not done. So from my side, this 3-day session is over, but I know our story is not even closely over yet.